go all the way. I'd like to see Black Dragons pushed here and to give us a good game. I'm sure that both sides are very capable of just exactly that. Bans coming in as Black Dragons opt to go for a book ban first. Santos keeping things pretty predictable with the Thatcher ban, but they will bring out a Clash ban. Now, we've seen a lot of Clash over the past couple of days, Gio. Is it worth a ban here on Oregon?
I mean, personally, I'm glad for it because I'm not the biggest fan of Clash. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think because I can't, unless I'm particularly mistaken, I can't remember Black Dragons particularly leaning into Clash. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong.
Twitch chat is probably like, oh my god.
Someone will find a clip of someone on the side of Black Dragons playing Clash.
Yeah, back in 2017.
Back when it wasn't even this team. Or maybe one of the FaZe guys playing.
Yeah. It'd be like back in Operation Grim Sky and they're just like, actually they played a Clash on the test server back then, so... No. I don't have...
I just don't think that Clash is worth a ban because, here's the reasoning. We see things like Valkyrie. Now, that's potentially being six-picked out of or back into here. Live's actually going to six-pick out of the Valkyrie. We've seen a lot of Echo ban sort of sneaking his way back on in. Valkyrie as well. Mirror being available on Oregon. Oregon's a great mirror map.
Yeah, that's actually wild.
Just feel like there's maybe more valuable bans to be sort of taken here. But we'll have to see how it plays. And if Black Dragons, for the time, choose to use any of those operators. For the moment, they're going for a Goyo setup with the Warden. Warden's seen increasing popularity here, and kind of like some of the ways that we see these LATAM teams use it.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're expecting an ace to be played and smoke plants are quite popular, or even just smoke used in rotate holes and whatnot to try and obscure movement from the attackers. Having a Warden can be incredibly useful. Not only that, but he brings along a shield, which is a very useful piece of utility. And I did find it a bit funny that Live 6-picked off of Valk onto Warden. You're still playing with the MPX, so same gun. Although if I'm not mistaken, Warden has 1.5 times on it, which Valkyrie does not. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Maybe trying to challenge onto some of those longer engagements, but
so...
No, I don't play Warden that much.
I like his penguin waddle though. It always makes me laugh. Like, you ever run with Warden? He looks like a penguin.
Ion's playing quite aggressively there on Freezer.
Yeah, and if he loses this engagement, it's going to be kind of bad for him. But it looks like those two players from Black Dragons are going to just rotate back. But Patoxy, hello?
Oh dear, oh dear. Rise finds himself a freebie as an opener and even hits a question mark in chat as if to say, what was that? Bugs has got himself taken out as well. So that roam game is starting to pay, really, as two players lost when you're defending Laundry. Live going to do something to try and drag things back, but 2 for 1 isn't ideal.
Yuna can still hold on to the freezer. There is the Claymore at the top, so Black Dragons shouldn't go for anything more aggressive, like from what we saw from Patoxy. Also, the hatch being opened as well by Santos means Yuna's going to have to watch very carefully for anyone who may jump down that. He does have the shotgun at the ready, which could catch those players out. In the meantime, Rise is getting ready on the meeting hatch. Notice that there was a flank drone that was actually set up directly behind him, just watching out to ensure his safety while he does that.
Ion has a C4 ripped and ready to go. Looks as though Live could be trying to get aggressive onto those back stairs, but got to be careful in doing so. Black Dragons don't have very many bodies to start throwing at this if an aggressive push comes through. Live finds one onto Cons, and with it the diffuser cold on the ground. It's going to do something, and I think he will have been able to see that, as you do get a bit of an indicator there. Live going to actually get himself taken out as Hunter aggressively pushes on through blue. He's still got Ion to deal with on that elbow as Toxic Babe canisters go out. Ion Nicely there, detonates the Vulcan shield as Black Dragons are going for a bit of a retake here. They're trying to just deny access to that site with fire and smoke. The Toxic Babe canisters are doing a number here on Rise, and he's lucky to be alive here. He has got a shred of health and will try and plant that diffuser, but is he going to get challenged? In fact, Santos is going to do the challenging, and they're going to find that final kill, forcing him off the diffuser. Santos, they're going to pick up round number 1 here.
I think a lot of the problem there for Black Dragons was that early aggressive play, particularly from Patoxy, because it just meant that they were spread out a little thin later on in the round. Yuna was trying to hold on to Freezer on his own. There was still the hold over into blue, but it didn't actually push Santos back that much. They had free reign to just shoot through the softball of electrical to get rid of the Vulcan shield, and didn't have much of a problem with the shield that was present in elbow. Also, as a direct result of Black Dragon's, distracted attention, it meant that that rotate hole that you have in elbow didn't actually get late reinforced off at all. Once again, that could be used to the advantage of the attackers as they started to move in. Not really the cleanest from Black Dragons, I don't think. With just Iron alive at the end, there's not much that you can do on a retake all alone, especially when there's 3 players of the attackers who can support the plant that is going down. However, it's not the end of the world. You should never really judge a game by the first round. And so they'll be coming up to the upstairs site for their next round.
Kind of get the feeling that Black Dragons need to give Santos a little bit more respect there in the early round, because it seemed as though they were just like, yeah, we'll take these gunfights and we'll try and get an advantage. And Santos, they're a team of gunners. They're capable of getting frags, and they did just exactly that. Hunter, a player that I've highlighted multiple times, is going to be popping off here. It's going to be STK to find the first. Going to try and breach and round live to death, as he doesn't want to risk going inside, but will be taken out. That's some good trading on the side of Black Dragons. Early aggression or not from live. For Ion to be able to make that quick move down the main stairs and take down STK, it's at least done something here.
It's a nice trade, but it was disappointing that the trade was necessary in the first place. One of the big stories for Black Dragons over the last stage has been that while they are very, very capable players and really great at taking gunfights, sometimes they over-aggress and have required more discipline. It's wonderful to be mechanically skilled, but you have to be set up in a way that allows that to be capitalized upon. And even if you do win those aggressive early gunfights, are there people there to trade for you? Are there people there to support you? Do you have a really good route or plan for what comes next under any of the potential outcomes? I think those are the things that Black Dragons really seem to lack. That means depth isn't necessarily there on some of these roams that they go for.
Attic being open, it's going to allow some drones to come through. There's a nice Claymore place there if Black Dragons decide to play aggressively onto this. You're going to start to feel the pinch as well as the Goyo shield is exploded. Now the wall above the reinforcement is going to be soft, and that'll allow him to throw out a C4, which he does have. He's going to draw it for now, but at least keep hold of it for the time being, as if he's going to make that play, he needs to be sure that there's going to be somebody there. Still has his ADS to work with, as Rise is actually outside, not in Attic, so not too much of a concern at the moment. Santos just stalling out a little bit here.
Yuna's still in the attic, as you say, but he's going to be pinged out. Pons moving through into Trophy. It didn't take too much time before being able to get open the game's wall. You have to remember, of course, there has been a partial breach made onto the attic wall as well that Yuna has to be very cognizant of. Rise cooking a nade to throw in through the big window. Is it going to find anyone? Well, a chunk of Iron's HP will be the casualty. Cons takes his opportunity to go in for the plant as the trades come out around, but he's had to stop.
A lot of time here really for Black Dragons as they're getting pinched from just about every angle possible. Rise with a nice 2k to finish things off, taking down Patoxy at the top of those white stairs. A very slow and steady push here from Santos, but it's a push that's worked out for them.
Peculiar performance from Black Dragons so far, given they don't look like they're playing like a team who is aware that this could qualify them for the Copa Elite 6, and if they lose it, they won't qualify for it. Again, a lot of it comes down to how I feel that Black Dragons need to play more disciplined. If you have someone like Live, for example, who is alive later on in the round, some of those late round pushes from Santos could go an entirely different way. But because they're just being too opportunistic and aggressive in the early round, it's not necessarily doing much. It's all well and good to be a team that favors deep roams and likes to have them go out about the map entirely. But Santos aren't even having much time wasted by the clears. Sometimes it works against certain teams. When they're the types of teams who like to do really methodical, thorough roam clears, a lot of time can be wasted by those early aggressive roams. Because even if you don't come face to face with the attackers are still going to spend all the time just looking in every nook and cranny of the site, or of the map, sorry, before they go to execute onto the site. Santos aren't one of those teams. You know, they aren't going to spend every single second and every single centimeter of the map just trawling through it to check for roamers. They're going to move up towards the site. That's going to happen. And if you're making it easy for them to actually get those kills early on, that just makes their life significantly easier. It means that they get kills and they can move on to the site, and you can't do anything in the late round.
Lion this time being brought by Hunter. We've seen him play Iana a little bit so far today. But with the way that Black Dragons have been roaming quite early, it kind of makes sense to bring a Lion and try and capitalize on some of that early aggression that Black Dragons are displaying. So I like the thought process if there is Lion pick on the side of Santos. As we can see, the drones are going to be working on ahead, trying to figure out where everybody is. My clean feed's a little bit janky at the moment, but I think it's going to come back good again in a moment.
It's okay. It's a little bit. So far, everyone's alive. At the very least, that's something new. That's something exciting. But this is a very aggressive positioning from Iron in elbow as well. And you can actually see that the ADSs have been placed right at the front of the blue door. So he's looking to extend beyond that shield that they've set out for his protection, which is where I begin to worry, because that looks like it could lead into another tragedy for Black Dragons. Yuna once again playing in Freezer, while Live is trying to provide some protection and support for Iron. There's the opening of electrical and the droning out of the barbed wire that Santos know they'll have to get rid of. Or sorry, Black Dragons were the ones to drone that out. Now they start to move round to blue. This is where a lot of that push came in from Santos back when they took the round in round number 1. They just want to be sure that the utility is looked out for, such as the ADSs, such as the shield. And I like the methodical approach that they're going for with this. So far, still no action yet to unfurl. Most of the drones have gone from the side of Santos, and so they're going to start being left wanting for the utility and information. There's a kill right onto the diffuser as Potoxi was perfectly positioned in pillar. Destiny just trying to move in down the tower stairs, but it's Santos who are getting 2 kills. Iron finally has the Vulcan shield that's protecting him exploded, but he's not going to be deterred or move back into the site. Hunter just trying to hold on to the angles. You can hear the Malusi Banshee going off. They need to try and make the plant soon, but Iron's just got to push forward. He can't get the second kill, however. It's a 2 versus 2 with 7 seconds remaining, and Santos just clear up at the end.
And that's regardless of where said team sits at in the leaderboard. Now, Santos are making it look not easy, but they're certainly getting the job done downstairs on that laundry site. So far, they've managed to win 3 out of 3 of their attacking rounds here on Oregon. And that's just unreal.
Not really what I was expecting at all. To be honest, I thought the Black Dragons would put up more of a fight. I noted that the score that they got against MIBR yesterday on Coastline was completely abhorrent. I mean, 1-7 after beating Team Liquid, it just doesn't make any sense. And yet right now they're looking like that same team who are left floundering against MIBR. Santos managed to win that last round despite the fact that they had no way to really access the diffuser. Once it was brought down because Pillar wasn't cleared out and Patoxy could get the kill once the meeting drop was made, I mean, what was Santos to do? They couldn't just jump in through electrical knowing that angle was being held. They went aggressive. Iron couldn't get the second kill, and Santos securing that kill for themselves meant that they immediately took blue and elbow control. From that point onwards, you can just push in. You have 7 seconds left. You can't access the diffuser, but man, wouldn't it be useful if you had access to the main rotate onto the site and direct lines of sight into all of those important places that the defenders will be holding? Yeah, that would be. And it's almost as if Santos got control of those things. Really a round that they shouldn't have won after losing the diffuser, and yet Black Dragons let it happen.
Black Dragons need to try and find something here. This is a game that means so much to them. So far, Santos are making it look quite easy. Now, we are seeing a slight change up here. We'll be looking now toward Kitchen. And Santos do the same again. Showers is going to be hotly contested, and there's utility in there to allow Black Dragons to keep control and a hold. Now, with a really laser gate placed on that side, I'm not saying it's the wrong side, but something we have seen teams do is place it on the side that has the rotation on. Then you are still forced to try and burn it. As with the Maverick, you can just Maverick open the hard wall. You can still burn the laser gate. And you can still get that wall open when that laser gate is disabled. So now would be a prime time to pile on any utility. Live has got ADSs in there to work with, but they're not going to last forever. There's another Lion scan that comes out. It's going to root the defenders in place. Black Dragon's left trying to find some sort of safety here as a hop comes in. 2 kills for Patoxy. Live doubles down and finds one for himself. All the kills going Black Dragon's way so far. Patoxy there getting a bit aggressive and maybe pushing his luck, but they have the man count to do so. At least they did. Hunter's gone massive off the back of one singular scan. He's picked himself up 3 kills. As if by magic, 2 versus 2 here, Gio. A round that was looking good for Black Dragons now just goes and landslides towards Santos.
Being quite quiet here. Hunter wants to make sure he has the room he needs. The Evil Eye's directly above him, but he's not going to let that push him back. STK watching out for support, but not before Iron can get the kill onto Hunter. Now he's got to try and plant the diffuser himself.
Taking a load of Toxic Babe gas there as even Hugzord all the sound cue that he needs. He hears the cough and is able to pick up that headshot with the SMG. Black Dragons by the skin of their teeth. He had live ping info on that as well. It was a round that looked as though it should have gone to Black Dragons from the start, especially with the start that Patoxy and Live both had. But Hunter went massive there and really tried to swing that momentum back into his team's favour. And for a time, it was very winnable there for Santos. They're not going to be too worried, though, as we enter round number 5. They still have a 2-round advantage here on the attack. And Black Dragons, they're going to need every single one of these defensive rounds now to try and bring this back to some sort of normality, to bring it to a 3-3 split.
Yeah, despite how that actually ended up going for Santos at the end, I really liked the way they responded to Black Dragon's setup. The way the Black Dragons were set up in and around Showers with the 2 players in there rather than just 1 meant that a lot of the attention was being paid on dealing with the player who was directly behind the shield much deeper in Showers. That's the typical place that you expect to see a defender play in there. But Live was just hiding out straight in that first shower cubicle. And you also had Patoxy over in Shower's corridor, which meant that when Santos tried to push into the site push into the room, sorry, and up through the corridor, they had multiple angles being held, and it wasn't just about that one defender. However, instantly Santos read into that, and Hunter made the Lion scan work. He knew that there was more than one player in there, so even though he got that first kill, there was still other people to deal with in there. He knew that they would have to retreat further into the room because there was no way that they could just stand behind the rotate because they would be too exposed. The Lion scan gave them the exact location of those players, and Hunter capitalized. Even though at the very end didn't pan out for Santos, Black Dragons won the round, I thought that was a really smart reaction to what Black Dragons had done.
It really was, and it took, you know, a big clutch there from Hugs to try and pull it back. And he did. Deservedly so. But the way that Santos responded to that little bit of aggression, and, you know, we've not really seen many of these rounds immediately not go their way. They've often found nice openers. So to see them have that fight and that ability to be able to claw back something that really wasn't looking too good for them, it's very nice to see indeed. Now we're looking toward a different objective. We're back downstairs in the laundry. Santos so far have been pretty successful here. They commented that not every team inside of this league has even been able to successfully and repeatedly attack onto this site. But they do seem to have that little bit of secret sauce. Now, it has in part been down to the way that Black Dragons have defended it. And in this round, Black Dragons are stacking the site much more heavily than they have previously.
Yeah, Lives down here with Yuna to provide some assistance. Santos's pushes onto this site primarily so far have been based from blue. You can tell that Black Dragons still want to be cognizant of the pressure that is applied down into Freezer, which is something that Santos has done in the early round, or at least the mid round, every single time, despite the fact that the main push does come in more from the blue side. They got a drone right on that meeting hatch, which they're using to provide some information. Once again, the soft wall on electrical getting blown open, and Patoxy in the same position as before. I'd be very surprised if Santos decided to just make a hatch drop like they did before, knowing that Patoxy caught them out last time. But there's Cons jumping straight down. He's getting stunned out though, as is Patoxy, and Live is the first casualty.
C4 is going to miss there for Ion. Patoxy finds early success, but is instantly shut down there by Destiny. Destiny now commanding this pillar. The Black Dragons try and respond, but there's only two of them left to try and do so. Ion trying to level out that count as the Lion scan will root everybody in place. 15 seconds, only 2 to find. Make it 1 as Hunter and STK grab out those final 2 kills. No plant required there as the information on the side of Santos was just a bit too great, even having Z-pings right up until those final 2 kills.
Yeah, that was very quick from Santos, and you could tell straight away, you know, they remembered that the positioning of Patoxy was a huge problem for them last time. So what they did is they made sure that he was stunned out when Cons made that push, made the jump down and through the hatch. Now, I assume that came from the tower stairs, which is usually where you would see as a fair play, but although I have to admit, I can't remember straight off the back of my head where that position was. That's what would make the most sense to me. But it meant that Patoxy was pushed back. He couldn't capitalize on the jump down. And when they could send more players of Santos down into the site, they could just eat Black Dragons alive because of all that pressure they were putting on them. Really overwhelmed them. And what really stands out to me here is this was a round where Black Dragons didn't particularly over-aggress outside of the site or upstairs, and yet Santos still took the one up in it and now find themselves 4-1 and maybe about to have a 5-1 split on their attacking half on Oregon.
Genuinely, I cannot remember a game that I've seen a 5-1 attacking split in sort of competitive Siege at this sort of a level. It doesn't seem like something that happens here on Oregon when that team that has got 5 is on the attack. It seems like a little bit of a rarity, and we're being treated here by Santos with the way that they are approaching this map. It's a comment that we made inside of the pre-show that they were able to take 5 rounds off NIP here. A couple of those came from the attacks as well. So very capable here on Oregon. And we often do bill Oregon as that great leveler between teams that on a standings page may be a little bit mismatched, but when they get into the server, you know, any team can hang.
Mate, Team 1 are probably watching this right now and they're like, oh, this is what I like to see. Because don't forget that if Black Dragons lose this, then Team 1 qualify for the Copa Elite 6. If Black Dragons win, then Team 1 don't qualify and it'll be Black Dragons going in for the Copa Elite 6. Oh, that's going to add on to Team 1's nice feelings as well. Early kill from Hunter onto Live. Just going to send things more into the momentum favor of Santos.
Regularly getting that opening pick here, and Hunter leading by example in the kill department. Really seems to be the ringleader inside of this game. Destiny takes out Yuna. It's not looking great here as a pre-play C4 will be shot. I imagine that was Yuna's. The push comes through the attic area. Black Dragons, they have got a lot to worry about now. Santos have so much time to play with, and they are just gently forcing these defenders out of position. Rise is setting up a flank drone, or moving a flank drone, should I say. Just ensuring the attic is clear. The level of thoroughness that we're seeing from Santos, despite their huge advantage here, is really enthusing. They've got a Claymore at the bottom of those stairs. They're now trying to burn out this utility with still a minute left to play. That's plenty of time to get rid of these Toxic Babe canisters, and we can already see there's players at the opposite side ready to try and push in. Hugs is in a world of hurt. There's a nade coming his way with his name all over it. He rotates his way on into Dorms as Rise can now push aggressively on through. Hugs, full white flashed, has got a moment to breathe, sends out another canister, but is getting pushed from multiple angles. Cons is securing that plant. 2 more kills make it a flawless Santos 5-1 here on their attacking half of Oregon.
This is absolutely unbelievable. Even the fact that Santos forced Black Dragons to use all of their Toxic Babe canisters on an attic push. That's crazy. They can't be used. You don't. They can't be used later on in the round for anything. There wasn't enough pressure from the defenders to hold back the attackers coming in. I mean, even then, you know, it was basically just ADS that were there for protection. The Maverick got the wall open very, very quickly. It's just all that utility, man. All that utility just on that attic push, and it was all for naught. And now what? Santos need 2 rounds? 2 rounds? Honestly, I've been very critical of Santos throughout the course of this stage because a lot of their attacks are very lacking. Particularly because this is a team who really don't excel in vertical play. It's not something they ever really think to do, and as a direct result, it often means they relinquish control of parts of the map that would be needed in order to take a site, whether above or below them. It simply hasn't mattered in this game. Because Black Dragons aren't necessarily showing defenses where that is required as much. And even then, you know, when you're attacking onto something like kitchen dining, you don't require a ton of vertical control. You can choose to, and I'm a proponent of it, but you don't require it. And when you're attacking onto the basement, they're getting their hatches open. You don't have to play on, you know, by opening up floors or anything. So it doesn't really lean into Santos's weaknesses at all. Because their attacking halves have always been their weaker sides in this stage, it leads me to believe that their defenses are probably going to look even better here against Black Dragons.
I think that we might have a little Twitch poll on the way here, and I reckon this is going to tell quite a big story indeed. As I can't imagine that many of you guys at home thought Santos would be the favourites, although it's a lot closer than I thought. In fact, that's a bit skewed because the colour is bigger than the number. So 56% of you guys at home think that Santos is going to win. There it is. Now it's the right way around. So provided that that poll was done at the start of the game, which I imagine for integrity it was, there is a lot of Santos believers out there in the chat. So I imagine the Twitch chat at the moment is going wild that you're seeing Santos 5-1 up here against Black Dragons. It's some incredible support, that, Gio, given the stage that they've had.
Yeah, did those people watch the... Okay, either they didn't watch the Black Dragons Liquid game, or they watched too much of the MIBR Black Dragons game, right? You know, after seeing how Black Dragons performed yesterday, I can understand why it would go that way. Now, speaking of Black Dragons, they are preparing for this push-in, sending a Gemini through into Laundry to collect some information. Destiny's not going to take the bait. He won't be shooting it out the way. Instead, he's just watching in through those little peek holes of the shield for when a real human being starts to move in.
Not getting baited out by the Gemini. A push coming through on pretty much every angle here from Black Dragons. The danger we see some teams make is that they push themselves a bit too thin, but Live's going to find an opener onto STK. Removes a C4 potentially in his hand. Destiny still trying to challenge onto it, but struggling to land any significant shots and taking quite a lot in return. That's going to blow the Vulcan shield, and it's certainly going to be the end of Destiny. Rise! Where did that come from? A quick 2K with the SMG-11 catapults his team back in with a chance here, as there are only 30 seconds left. Scrambling for information. Hunter doesn't really know which way to check. Doesn't know there's someone in freezer. Misses the swing on the gunfight. Patoxy lying in wait, but that information has been given to Rise. This would be an ace clutch. He has 15 seconds to find himself a couple of kills here. The diffuser is in Live's hands. This could turn into a 1v1 very quickly while that plank goes down. Doesn't manage to land his shots. You could see he was desperately trying to find Yuna's head there. But Yuna, he will find the final kill, and Black Dragons find a round for the first time in a long time here on Oregon.
Honestly, if Patoxy had... Oh, sorry, if Hunter had watched out for Freezer and not just meandered in front of the opening, that could have gone an entirely different way. Rise getting the trade was great, and Rise actually really showed up in that round. And I think it was just a real short-sightedness from Hunter to just ignore Freezer. You could tell as well by the way that Rise was positioned at the end, and when the plant started to go down, it was a great situation for Black Dragons because you could instantly have one player set up in Freezer to hold the angle that directly covered the plant. They knew Rise had moved over towards the closet or laundry side, or storage or laundry, whatever. I always want to call it closet. The storage or laundry side of the site. So it was a really easy angle to hold there for Black Dragons at the end, and Hunter remaining alive could have made all the difference then. Difference is he didn't remain alive, and Black Dragons took a round that they desperately needed, because coming onto this half, they have to prove, not least to us, but to themselves, that they can pick up the slack from the first half.
It was almost uncharacteristic of Hunter to die there, as he has only died 3 times throughout this game so far. 11-3 on the board, really putting a shift in for his team. Santos in a nice position though. They don't really have to worry too much about that round. They can hit that reset button because for the time being, the pressure is all on Black Dragons. Don't forget, this is for a spot in the Copa Elite 6, and currently they have a large deficit to find their way back from. Top floor is going to be the site for Santos. Master bedroom and kids' dorm is where we are going to throw it down. Vertical play being acknowledged here by Santos. It's something they struggle with on the attacks, but certainly making use of it here on the defense, and it could net them some results. That's where a large portion of the push is currently coming in from Black Dragons. They're inside of that Z corridor, just outside of showers. Looking to maybe root out any of the defenders that are playing down here, of which there are a couple. Ace Selma charge is going to get used there, as Cons is holding that angle pretty hard. It's going to force Live to actually rethink his approach here. Going to look to drone through. Oh, he's got himself a freebie there. This could be quite big. It looks as though Cons has shifted for a time, but he's probably going to end up eating a grenade here as a push does come through. Hunter finds a C4. Cons can't challenge for long, but Live doesn't manage to gain that frag. It was a bold attempt, but it hasn't worked for him. He's now left to try and find something else, and it may be an engagement with STK on these stairs.
Look how many drones are left on the side of Black Dragons. There is... Let's count them. 1. I'm done.
That was quick.
I know. Remember, of course, that this is an upstairs site, too. Black Dragons have really no information. So I guess knew where SDK was and got the kill. They have really no information. They're in the final minute because they've spent so much time downstairs. Yuna's actually going to come straight face to face with Hunter. Hunter wins that one. Now what do Black Dragons do? Such limited information on anything, and they're all dotted around the site with no real push onto the upstairs itself.
The site is upstairs. Why are we seeing so many engagements? Black Dragons are just getting dragged into this roam game that Santos are laying out before them. Hunter in a bit of an off angle there at the top of Armory Stairs. Shows good discipline. Picks himself up an easy kill over onto Hugs. Live has had the call out, and so has Patoxy. And Hunter has managed to retreat. He's got himself through trophy. He's dropped the diffuser, and he now knows where that sits. Santos can turn their attention and just keep an eye on where that is. Try and get the last couple of kills and win out this round on time. There's still no easy point of access for Live to hop on through that highway window, as time is going to tick down to 0-0-0. Santos, they put themselves on a match point here on Oregon.
I'm going to be honest, Ollie, I have no idea what that round was.
I don't think it was Black Dragon's finest hour, honestly.
Not their finest 3 minutes. Look, the kind of funny thing about that, or funny depending on your perspective and which team you're supporting here, but the kind of funny thing about it is Santos really sort of lent into that idea that Black Dragons were going for themselves on their defense, and that is to have the wide roam that has to get dealt with by the attackers. Except when Santos were attacking onto that, they won those engagements and then also just moved on quickly. Whereas Black Dragons, they were like, right, this is a Navy SEALs mission. We're moving straight into every single crevice of this map. You're going to go looking for everyone, and we're going to spend as much time as possible doing that. We'll worry about the site later on. Except the thing is, for the most part, they didn't win those engagements. They were running on limited information. They were just clearing, or trying to clear, all the way through in the basement. I mean, Hunter could just sit for free at the bottom of Laundry Stairs and get a kill onto Yuna, and Yuna didn't know. I'm sorry, if you're going to do a clear through the basement when you're attacking onto the top floor, at least know where the defenders you're trying to kill are, because you'll probably die otherwise. And then you'll have a minute left to attack onto the top floor, which you haven't breached, you haven't cleared the utility for, and you only have a certain number of players left. Even at the very end, when we saw, who was it, Live, who was, contemplating jumping in through the armory window, there's a Banshee right in front of him. He looked at it, knew he can't shoot it because it's bulletproof, and then just tried to hold the angle, because there's really nothing he can do there. Chances are he was going to be killed as soon as he vaulted in. That was a mess of a round from Black Dragons. And now Santos are on match point, and Black Dragons are quite possibly going to wave goodbye to their chances of going to the Copa Elite 6.
This round is going to decide Black Dragon's fate for the Copa Elite 6. If they win this round and are able to tie this up into an overtime, then regardless of the result, they will have done it. But they need only 1 point from this fixture. Team 1 are probably watching this through their hands right now, because if Black Dragon lose here and don't get any points, then they are confirmed inside of the Copa Elite 6, and they have a chance at getting the global standings points. It's big stuff that's at stake here for Black Dragons. They certainly haven't had the best showing on Oregon so far, and now they have got to be near perfect if they want that to continue.
Back down in the basement, which was a site the Black Dragons did indeed win. Though part of that can be put down to a misplay from Santos. We got the Aruni gates here on the freezer hatch. Also on the freezer wall. So lots of Aruni gates surrounding freezer. Means the projectiles will be much harder to throw in. The Vulcan shield also being protected by an Aruni gate onto the hallway. That means that that's likely to last a lot longer than if it were unprotected. That's a bit of a disappointing C4 there from Cons. Wanted to throw that up the stairs, but got stuck on the underside of the next stairwell. So he'll just have to give that one up for now.
Oh, I'm getting a little bit scared here. I can feel an electrical hatch drop coming from Black Dragons as they desperately attempt something here. We're seeing the smoke canisters get thrown on out. Live gathering some last second drone intel. Cons in a prime position to try and push his way on up, and will do. Finds himself a kill onto Live, gets traded instantly by Yuna. Level pegging 4 versus 4, but only 30 seconds remain. Patoxy could drop himself into Freezer. Ion left to still try and fight his way through. Not got any progress inside of Tarps as of yet, and it looks as though there's some confusion on the side of Santos as there's players rapidly turning this way and that. Patoxy comes in huge with 2. Hunter grabs the trade. Yuna comes on to Hunter and finishes that one off. Rise now locked in the 1 versus 2. Yuna has the diffuser and will start to plant. Once again, we're seeing it come down to the wire. Rise has had the opportunity at a couple of clutches here tonight. Has he got the intel? Has he got the gun skill? Finds both of them! Finishes them with the shotgun! The post plant there for Rise. Plenty of time to get that counter diffuse off. Santos, what have you shown us?
Watch that Rise failed to do just a couple of rounds prior. He made up for it straight up in that last round. Santos defying the expectations of those of us on the desk, but not the expectations of Twitch chat because they're smarter than us, and deny Black Dragons their opportunity to go to the Copa Elite 6. That means Team 1 have made it. They will be joining the other 5 teams, and we know every single team from Brazil to be playing there. What a great showing from Santos after some very, very questionable play days in recent history. The perfect time for them to show what they're made of.
Hunter and Rise standing out of the crowd there, really head and shoulders above the rest of their team, carrying in terms of kills. Only triple positive